I love Lego. There's no harm in Lego.
Yeah, and it's like somebody's incepted Madison's son. And now I don't want my father's legacy.
Can you guys,
I'm going to wait for streaming so that I can skip ahead.
Cool. Hello, fellow idiots, and welcome back to Idiots of F1, the podcast that keeps talking even when the cars stop racing. I'm Oli, and we're in that strange bit of the calendar where F1 collectively pauses, but the headlines absolutely do not. I just nutted. Do not. There's no Grand Prix this week, which means no tyre strategies to argue about, no Ferrari meltdowns to unpack, and no one to blame for Lance Stroll's performance, except Lance Stroll. But don't worry, we've still got a full grid of nonsense lined up. Today, it's a special edition built around two of our favourite segments, What's Verstappening, where we take a spin through the week's biggest F1 headlines, off-track chaos and occasional driver thirst traps, and Hush, you've been paying attention, our weekly quiz that rewards knowledge, guesswork, and the ability to recall obscure facts about whoever finished 14th in a race in 1998. Digby is still in the lead, I think. Yes, on 7. Yeah. Okay, just checking. Tay and Ev are now chasing hard again together in his rear view on 6 apiece. And if there's ever a week to pull out a critical result, this is it. But before you buckle up, let me reintroduce my fellow idiots. For those of you regularly tuning in on the show, you'll have a pretty good grasp of who these three are. But if you're new, well, you're in luck, because I've got a few icebreakers here. So, Diggs, I'm going to start with you. Right, in the theme of actually having a week off racing, you've been left in charge of the official F1 TikTok account during the off week. What kind of content are you posting to keep fans engaged? Is it car memes, team radio reenactments, a full reboot of F1 drivers as maths contestants? What do you got?
I'm so glad
we know you love social media.
I'm so glad you've asked me this, because I was just about to say, after you mentioned Lance Stroll, for some reason on this week off, I have been inundated with some of the best Lance Stroll bad driving memes from Evan, from all these random people, and that has kept me incredibly entertained and engaged and distracted from the bollocksness of what's been going on in the actual media world of F1. So that's what I think I'd focus on, just having fun with the whole Lance Stroll.
Can you imagine being in charge of F1 social media and all you do is post shade on Lance Stroll all weekend? Imagine Lawrence coming banging on that door.
George Russell crying. Just that same video of George Russell crying with different, just like similar comments of everything. It's been great.
That is so good. That is so good. All right, okay, so just a heap of hate towards poor old Lance. Ev, it's a race-free Sunday. You've got a full day to yourself. You've got absolutely nothing productive to do. So think like eating cereal out of a measuring jug or watching Drive to Survive with subtitles in a different language. What's your peak lazy day behavior? And do not say masturbating. Actually, that would be lazy. Ev's like, nah, I can't be fucked.
I'm going to have to rethink my answer. What would I do? I don't know what. I'd probably cook something.
Okay.
I'll cook a lasagna or a
like a Findus lasagna that you kind of just throw in the microwave for 5 minutes, or you like?
Nah, he's rolling the pastry. He's doing it all.
Pastry.
Yep.
He's doing the bechamel sauce.
Yep.
All of it.
Yeah, you got to make that. Yeah, something like that.
Can you do us a favor? Can you do it and film it for our Idiots of F1 content, but do it naked? Be like the naked chef.
just with like your F1, a little F1 car where your dick's supposed to be.
Ev, why is your apron on backwards?
No, wear your Pirelli hat.
The drawstring covers everything, so it's fine, mate. Just that little...
Yeah, that's right.
Good. Well, in typical fashion of the introduction of Ev, we've managed to offend a lot of people, so we'll move on to the next one, which is Tay? Yeah, Tay. Oh God, he's
fucking shit.
Yeah, there you go. Look, I knew it. You'd get so upset at me that I've already forgotten you. I was off 1 week and I've already forgotten him. Tay, you're banned from watching or talking about F1 for the entire weekend. What's your new hyperfixation? Are you deep diving into competitive marble racing? Are you becoming a sourdough guy or a lasagna guy, as you lightly put it? Or are you binging documentaries about bridge building? What are you doing? What's your new hyperfixation? And don't say Lego.
Fuck me.
You were going to say Lego, weren't you? You're actually going to say, I'll sit there and build my Lego. Yeah, fuck.
I love Lego. There's no harm
Yeah.
in Lego.
Yeah,
but what are you building?
All right,
What
well, there you go,
Daddy,
everybody.
can you help me with? No, I'm
What are you
busy.
building with free reign to
Alright.
build, not buying. What are you building?
All right. You've made me think about a rush, like nostalgia back into childhood. I'd go out and get some GI Joes
Nice.
and build.
Shove them up your bum.
Okay. build forts and stuff out in the garden, like what I used to do as a kid.
Nice. I
I just
like that.
for some reason
Okay.
that literally just popped into my head.
Yep.
And all of
Right,
a sudden
somebody
it's
send
like-
Taylor a friend.
At work, Tay's like, step into my office, and it's just the break room, and everybody just
Yeah.
lets him call it. He's like, and he's just there like mashing together.
The couch
Gareth
action
Keenan's
couches are upside
investigation
down.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donk,
All right.
donk, donk.
With all that said and
Then
done,
my own then.
let's buckle up because even when there's no racing, there's always something Verstappen. And Diggs, cue that music, baby. Right, with no racing last week and no races this weekend, we're going to use today's episode to mostly cover off the key headlines doing the rounds since our last chat. Obviously, I wasn't here. The boys did a great job.
Welcome back.
But where else to start other than that of Red Bull and old mate Christian Horner? Typically, that was supposed to be the enunciation there. The day after we recorded last week's episode, the news about Christian
Ron
actually
Burgundy.
dropped. And if you're wondering what that was, then you're definitely in the right place because we're all about delivering news well after it's happened, like it's breaking. But jokes aside, we ummed and we ahed about doing an emergency recording, as everybody's called their own podcasts and editorials or whatever the fuck's gone out in the last week, to talk about it. But we decided we'd hold off this week, noting that A, there'd be no lack of commentary about it across every fucking channel. I'm sure you've all heard it all. And B, we wanted to make sure we had an episode in play for this week. Plus, rather than jump to the crazy conclusions, we can now absorb what we now know a week later and jump to crazy conclusions. So what do we know? So here's the rundown. Red Bull CEO and team principal, F1's youngest ever team boss when he was brought on, Christian Horner, was fired with immediate effect after 20 years at Red Bull. As we understand it, he's still under contract and, I put it in quotation marks, employed, but he's stripped of all operational control. Obviously, it sounds like it's not all bells and whistles, and that he'll be completely pushed out. He hasn't spoken publicly, but he did deliver a farewell speech to staff only because he insisted on it. Apparently, Red Bull initially wanted to break the news to staff via the same press release that was going to go out to media.
Would have been outrageous.
Still to this date, there's been no public reason given from Red Bull officially. Obviously, Horner himself has claimed through others close to Horner, so he's not actually come out publicly that he hasn't or wasn't told why. Surely that's changed now. But acknowledging we're just halfway through the season, he's since been replaced for now by Racing Bulls team principal Laurent Mekies. Ev, I'm going to throw to you.
What?
How do you pronounce it?
Meckies.
Meckies. Okay, cool. Thank you. Just checking. With Alan Permain, who stepped up at Racing Bulls to replace him. A shuffle of the deck, as they would say. Gents, in terms of the potential reasons, which I'm going to pass on to you guys in a second, a few have been making the rounds, again, claiming nothing's actually officially come out, but none more so than these three. So first of all, the ongoing and long simmering internal power struggles between both ownership groups, but perhaps more publicly, particularly in the last probably 12 to 18 months, Team Verstappen. Then you've got number two, which is the potential reality that Max has signed with Mercedes or another team. And I say that maybe putting Aston Martin in there, but obviously all the chat's been about Merc, or which Max has given the ultimate kind of ultimatum and said to Red Bull that he will sign with another team unless changes are made. And then the last kind of point, and this seems to be something that's probably more of an official statement and got some serious runs behind it, is the sharp decline in Red Bull performance this year, which directly and indirectly is all caught up with the relentless pursuit of swapping out drivers. Apparently, Sergio was given a new contract with any proper discussions of others outside of Christian. Obviously, then there's the whole Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, the fact that that's not working. They've had the loss of substantial key non-driver talent, including Newey and Jonathan Wheatley and so on. So I'm going to throw to each of you. I've got a few questions, lads. First of all, this announcement floored me. I know we've joked a lot about Horner, but to me, this feels as momentous possibly more as Lewis going to Ferrari. It's, for me, definitely the same ilk of that final race in 2021 and the initial blow up and the reaction of all the new outlets post that. But I want to get your take on it. First of all, and whoever can go first in whatever order. Ev, maybe we'll start with you, but what was your immediate thoughts, reaction to this news? And 2, why now? Based on what appears to be the leading reasons to Christian being fired, what do you think is the genuine reason they've pulled this trigger now and not waited until the end of the year?
Yeah, so a couple of factors. Recently, it's come out. We kind of knew it at the time, but it's been all but confirmed. Christian's the reason why the Porsche deal fell through. Porsche were looking to buy something like 60% of the company, and it got right down to I think they'd actually drawn up contracts, which is, if you don't know, it's like the most expensive part of the lawyer bill, because they're like 100 pages long. They have to be watertight, and essentially Christian vetoed it unilaterally because he didn't want to give up that amount of power. He didn't want to give up the power that he has. He gets to operate as a king, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's how he likes it. He's a very kind of maverick leader who does what his gut instinct tells him to do. And he doesn't want to be reporting to anybody over him, and he doesn't want to share those responsibilities.
So can I ask you a question?
So, yeah.
So I understood, and to that point, there's 2 things in that I think are really fascinating, which you just prompted this reason for me to interrupt. First of all, I understood that Christian not only obviously looked over the team, he was in charge of powertrains, he was in charge of marketing, he was in charge of racing bulls. To that point in that internal power struggle. So putting aside Verstappen,
that was
at Red Bull alone.
That was the first issue, is that he'd very kind of not unprofessionally, but led it to get such a state before vetoing that deal, which cost them. They lost a lot of money because of that. Very unprofessional. Then with the powertrains and the marketing of the team, he refused to take responsibility of those departments.
Oh, he refused it. Oh, beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Even though
CEO.
they're under his, they're under his remit as Red Bull Racing, but apparently he didn't want anything to do with that. He just cares about the racing team.
Got it.
Which I've read multiple sources that say that that's been very bristling to the higher ups of Red Bull. They don't run teams this way anymore. They haven't done for a long time.
As in where a CEO is also the team principal.
It's a maverick guy doing what he wants. Nowadays, it's all very corporate. And there are pluses and minuses to all of that. So that irked Red Bull corporate. And then leading up to this, apparently the week before the Silverstone race, and I think he was told before the race began, maybe on the Friday. In Christian's corner were the Tay family, who owned however much percentage.
Yes.
They, for some reason, put into a trust 2% of their value, which then gave majority shareholder to Mateschitz' son.
Yes,
who instantly pulled the trigger. So I don't know why the Tay family did that. If they were naive and they didn't think that this would happen.
So, question. Sorry. 2 things, and Taya, I know you want to. I know you want to jump in. So Taya, hold your thought. But when the Tay side of Red Bull. Sorry, you mentioned Mateschitz' son, but Dietrich Mateschitz, who's now deceased, he was a big fan of Christian's, right? But but his son not so much. So it's like a Red Bull civil war, pretty much.
Yes, it's a succession issue. They all want to be in charge, and this guy who's the son,
you are not serious people.
Deal with this. Yeah, he doesn't want to deal with this kind of shit. His son wants the corporate management style, what every other team has.
Well, so to that point,
Everybody
And every
reports
other
up.
team other than
Nobody-
Mercedes is about not as good as Red Bull. So I can kind of see.
so
what
here's a
Christians
question for
stand
you
by.
guys.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you guys. And Ev, I'm jumping on it and I'm not giving the others a chance to talk just yet because you've said it a few times. Maverick. This culturally feels like... So let's ignore
Yes.
Briatore, right? So he's got to go. We're not a fan. We know that.
He's very similar.
Yeah, but
he's a
but
prototype.
If you ignore Briatore,
for
who's
Christian.
kind of only supposed to be a temporary thing, Christian
Yep.
is somewhat the end of this maverick F1 leader, right? Because you look at
Yep.
your James Vowles, your Totos, your Andrea Stellas, like these are I always forget the name of the gentleman that's now running Haas who replaced Gene. Not
the
Gene.
Japanese,
Gunter.
the Japanese
Yeah,
guy.
sorry,
yeah.
terribly sorry. We should know that name, but we
Yeah.
are the
We
idiots
never,
of F1,
they
so we don't
actually
remember
never
everything.
talk about him, so it's fair that you've forgotten.
No, true. He did get a little bit of a run on Drive to Survive, mind you.
Kobayashi or something.
Yeah,
It's,
no, I think that's borderline racist, but
No, it's not. That's a last name. That's like saying, "Oh, the American guy
he's
is
taking
Smith."
it, just assuming
Probably
it's
Smith.
my really common name.
I don't.
like-
No, it's,
No,
yeah,
no,
it is. No, it is common because
Yeah.
his last name also is a company that sponsors Williams, I think it is,
Yeah.
isn't it?
But
Yeah.
to that point, these guys are all data-led
Komatsu.
technicians.
Ayo
Komatsu, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So apologies to everybody we've just offended by pretending it was Kobashi. But yeah, again, like the point being is there's been such a swing in the last couple of years, and it's only really for me become so obvious that after the fact you go, oh yeah, shit, actually, all these. Ironically, at the time
There's
of
a
an
reason
F1
for that.
Hollywood movie coming out, that suddenly everything's like shifted from being these big mavericks personalities to suddenly being like, just stick me in front of the pit wall and I won't take up the
Well, it's
limelight.
because it's every team's $1 billion now.
Yeah, okay.
Every
Oh, okay.
franchise is all of a sudden,
Yeah,
every team is $1 billion value.
This is not a private school's rich boys fund
No.
anymore,
We
right?
all saw what
Yeah.
happened to rugby
Yeah.
union when they did that.
Yeah. No comment. Hey, let's throw to Diggs. Tay, come on, lads. Get
Go with
so
Tay
the original
first. Go
question is
Tay
what your
first. I
immediate
think
thoughts.
Tay's chomping at the bit to talk about.
Immediate thoughts, reaction to this news. Why now? I mean, Ev, you've given some really good context there.
I'll touch on what Ev was saying in a minute, but in regards to my initial thoughts, it was sad. As much as we fucking rile on him and talk about him in not so favorable way,
Well,
it will be a face missed, I think, and
a personality
even though
miss.
a personality.
Yeah.
And even though we haven't heard much of him this past year, I think just from seeing him on Drive to Survive, seeing how active he was prior to being less in the limelight in the last 12 months, that still has had a lasting effect. So it still is sort of a sad.
I tell you, it's a good point, and ironically, like Red Bull are probably what Christian has done is proved over 20 years that they are a high performance system, right? Well, I'm sure somebody will bring up his stats later, but they are also a great brand, and they help sell the sport. And to that point there that Ev was alluding to, that these are big businesses now that are big, serious commercial P&Ls, which I'm not saying wasn't 20 years ago, but it feels like it is in different territory now. I mean, you've got one side of the fence, which is Liberty Media, saying we've got to build personalities, we've got to bring people in behind the scenes. It's going to be hard if they all suddenly end up like AI robots, right? Like, I mean, it's you're right. It is sad from a identifiable kind of big picture, again, kind of like the poster child of somewhat of F1 drama. It's interesting what happens to that entertainment proposition when you pull those characters out. And of course, I think, Ev's never been a big fan of Christians, but has always paid him with good respect based on what he's been able to achieve. He's been a massive part of what is Formula One, and particularly that team. So, I suspect that it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, like just to carry on, like that's another aspect. He was able to create Red Bull as what we know it now, and all credit to him. It'll be interesting to see how they go now. But to touch on what you brought up as well as what Ev was talking about in regards to the Thai family and the owners, and then the Austrian side with Mattershitz. So apparently, yes, I forget. I'm horrible at trying to pronounce the Thai's gentleman's name. I'm not. It starts with a Y. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Yovidya. I probably mispronounced that horribly. Ev, do you know how to pronounce it? No.
Don't look at me.
Yeah. So
cut away.
So my understanding is that he was a big fan as well of Christians, but of recent times they've had a bit of a falling out, and this is actually in opposite to what you said, Ev, because apparently it was more of a case where they had a falling out due to the fact that Horner wouldn't give up more the control that he has over marketing and the engine stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't.
And
I understand. Yeah,
and that caused apparently the friction. And in regards to the 2%, there wasn't any word as to why he sold the 2%. I think I didn't realize the trust aspect. I thought he just sold it.
Yeah, I don't think he sold it. He just moved that equity into a different account,
which means that it gave away that controlling interest that he had, which then obviously
is very telling.
Yeah, so there was no one there to cover and have that final vote controlled.
Yeah,
vote.
Digby can speak to this. So it wasn't just Christian; it was the head of marketing, and the head of communications.
Well, one of them left, and one of them got fired.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and so if you're, if I'm coming into a band situation and there's two redheads, for example, I'm cutting out the dead wood. I'm getting rid of it all.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. There's going to be. I think. Oh, you finish, Tay, and then I'll say my thing. You guys have said most of it.
That's why I came in.
But
no, it was just in regards to Ev and the guy. I believe it was the communications guy, like the social media guy, was essentially Horner's right-hand man.
Yeah.
Well, so it's understandable that you get rid of one, you get rid of the other.
Yeah, of course. And
that's
then
right.
I can see why the other one leaves. It's like I don't understand. It's like, well, if he's going, I'm not sticking around here. Christian is the guy I work with, not Red Bull kind of thing. And look, I can only comment on this because I've seen it firsthand at Red Bull at their staff parties.
Mm-hmm.
We're supposed to be there this weekend, but we couldn't go because we're doing. I don't know if it's this weekend. It was either the weekend before or weekend coming up. We couldn't play it, so I was supposed to be performing at the Red Bull party again this year, and I'm not sure if I'm glad that I'm not.
Where's
I wish
Christian?
I was more, because it would be really interesting to see what the vibe is like, because I can tell you, in the last 2 years we played it, the biggest part of the day was all of them getting to see Christian and get all of them getting to see Christian speak to them. Then after that, they all line up and get photos with Christian, and they chat. He chats to every single staff member who comes up and wants a photo. He is a celebrity, right? We've spoken about this before. Man, every staff member. It's not. I'm not kidding about this. I'm serious. That speech he did was not just for himself, but it's for the staff. They love him. So for him to go, I was like, I didn't think they were performing badly enough for him to go, for starters. Like,
it's a big loss.
I know that they cut Lawson pretty fast, but
so abruptly.
Yeah, very abruptly.
There
are some weird decisions going on.
That was his decision.
No, I understand, but what I mean is things are happening abruptly at Red Bull this year, right? They're fourth in the championship. They're not last. And I understand that their second drivers aren't performing, but to me, that isn't enough to cut the guy who's brought you 6 championships? 6 drivers championships, is that right? And 5?
How many did he win
5
with
constructors
Vettel, and how many has
3?
he won with Max?
So 8 drivers.
8.
Yeah.
Okay,
8
so
drivers
8.
constructed.
Okay.
And
so
I think
that is by no means a small feat in 20 years, especially when you don't have the Mercedes money or the Ferrari money, etc., etc. So this guy we know is very good. And then the timing of it would imply that it had nothing to do with the publicity from last year, or if it did, something else has been decided, but they would tell us. I think that is something that they would want everyone to know. This feels incredibly personal.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about the Mattershitz thing, to me, is the most logical. This guy doesn't like Christian. Now's my chance to get rid of him. If you go and watch The Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls, they get rid of Phil Jackson after a brilliant run. They've just won their 5th championship. They're going to win their 6th, but they're still firing him anyway because they don't like him. Or the CEO doesn't like him. Mateschitz doesn't like him. Okay, well, fuck off then, Christian. Christian is a polarizing guy. A lot of people love him, but a lot of people hate him as well. And if you're in a position, doesn't matter how much you should respect him. If you don't want to work with him, you want to see him go because he's smug. If it's that, like, if you've decided you don't like him, everything he does would just fucking roll you up. And if you love him, everything he does empowers you, like fist pumping. So
I think it says more how vague, how purposefully vague that statement was, and so benign, and he's like, it's incredibly petty.
In fact, they didn't tell him
to think that they would, and they phrased it in such a way that it's like there's just, I don't know, it's like firing someone from a call center or something. Like, he's Christian Horner. He made this from nothing, and you've given him the most.
That's why I feel it's a
contrite
it's a
boilerplate.
It's a power shift thing.
Send
it's
off.
the guy. It's
this is a power play.
It's mutiny on the bounty. You're not explaining to the captain what's fighting. It's just like everyone's gotten together.
Well,
we're backing you. Jon Snow. Think Jon Snow. I think this is the Game of Thrones, right? It's over.
I
for
think
Christian,
your point earlier,
and you're out. And he'll take his little team, and all the low ends are surprised.
This one's for Nui.
This
one's for Nui.
I believe Max's team when they say they were completely blindsided by it. I don't believe that Max was holding them and going, it's either him or me. Max owes Christian a lot. It would be odd to think, unless it was all Joss, that Max was like, get rid of him. I don't believe that. Sorry, what were you saying?
No. It's everything you said is so interesting. I suspect, and this goes back to a power play, right? And the thing about a power play, particularly those that are involved in the power play, is you very rarely realize you're involved in that power play until it's too late, or that you're on the wrong, end of that, right? So I suspect that somewhere along the line, for it to be so abrupt, almost like embarrassing to Christian how this has all gone. No comment, no statement from Red Bull other than like, he was a great serving candidate, whatever, right? I suspect he has pissed off somebody that is suddenly in control. Yeah. You know that old saying, like, don't piss off, the people you work with, or don't burn your bridges. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Something along the lines, whether it's Martischitz's kid, which is quite possible. You can imagine him walking in. And again, I'm going to say right now, we have no truth to any of this. This is all made up shit.
Please don't sue us.
We want to remind everyone listening to us that everything you've heard in the last 2 weeks is all speculation. No one knows what happened. If Christian doesn't know, then no one fucking knows. We are just here to provide what we believe to be the most logical scenario.
But I want to touch on the two things you said there. So one, I think this Christian has pissed off somebody so much, and they've gone out of their way to said, "I'll get you," and this is how I'm going to get you, and they're embarrassing him. Played the long game. They've hung him out to dry. And that's the only genuine unpacking that makes any form of sense, because it doesn't make sense, that I can arrive at. The other thing is about Max. Now, look, you're right. Max even came out and made that lovely comment afterwards. In saying that,
which he would
great timing, because there is no racing. Can you imagine how much Max would be smashed right now? Yeah. If there was a race this weekend, or even last weekend.
I reckon he'll avoid as much as he can.
Well, they will. They'll be given a media ban. They'll be told not to comment on any of it. They'll all have their strap lines to throw away in terms of avoiding the conversations, and then they'll say, "I've got no further comment on this." But the theory, and obviously I alluded to it in the kind of the three reasons that seem to be floating around, is that Team Verstappen is very much aligned with the Austrian side, which is now Mateschitz. And we know that Joss doesn't like Christian. In fact, Joss has been very outspoken about the fact that Christian being there is bad for Max. And, even I think there have been potentially terms thrown around that it's not good for his mental well-being.
Joss isn't good for his mental well-being.
But in saying that, Helmut Marko is also Team Verstappen.
Yes.
But his physical well-being.
But the rumours are that he might be on the way out too. So I don't know if there's a clean sweep.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. There's big movements there.
That wouldn't surprise me.
The one question I'm keen to get off you guys, and we'll talk about what next for all three of these parties, Red Bull, Max, and Christian in a minute. But this can't not come down to an element of Max Verstappen in some way. And it's actually, I think, Christian's own doing. So the irony of all of this is the performance side of Red Bull has clearly come about by giving Max all the control.
Yes.
Like, he's the number one driver. He's clearly the most in-demand driver on the grid. It gives Max all the power. So if Max isn't happy, and if Max has, my feeling last week was the biggest thing to come out of what has triggered this now, my thought at the time was Max has given an ultimatum. That he has said, I'm going to Mercedes if something doesn't change, or he's already going. I had
heard that they, if they were to go to Mercedes, which that seems to be what's going to happen. Yeah. Mercedes announced recently that they're entering a new car into GT3.
Yes.
And they're not focusing on anything higher than that. Whereas Ferrari and Alpine and all, they're all in
Le Mans.
Le Mans hypercar kind of stuff. So, that'd be a nice kind of cherry on top if you could say, well, look, it's the sort of thing about getting any sort of athlete for your team. I kind of like, so for example, in Spain with Barcelona and Real Madrid, even if you offer a player the same amount of money, up until recently, players were exempt from tax in Spain. So that's like a 20% bump already. So, and which you're never going to be able to cover that. So imagine saying, like, if it's not about money, he's repeatedly said he doesn't need more money. Then, well, what about, we've got facilities to have a works team in GT3. You want to put together drivers. Well, that's far more compelling than just, we're more money. Yeah. We're at Red Bull. I'll offer you more money.
So do you guys... Look, let's get on to what next. So what next for the team, for Max, for Horner? Because we're on Max, let's keep talking about that. So, I mean, what does the future look like for Max? So, for me, and you guys, and Tay was quick to quash it, all the rumours and all the people that jumped on the clickbait that here's Toto meeting Max at the airport or, wherever the fuck they were in Italy. Has been proved wrong. It was footage from 2022 or something after one of the races when they were leaving Italy. So anyways, but yeah, as I alluded to before, and I suggested that, like, for me, a big part of what would make huge amounts of sense, and then you go, aha, when it comes out, is the reason why this has happened right now at Red Bull is because Max has signed with Mercedes and they've gone, nah, fuck it, this is all your fault, Christian, you're out. However, or it was the alternative, which I think could equally be as true, if not maybe more true now, is that Max has said, I'm going to sign with Mercedes if you guys don't make a change. I
still find that odd, though.
I feel that if that...
There was Red Bull was great before Max Verstappen, so why would that suddenly be the catalyst?
Well, they had Adrian Newey.
That's right.
And part of trying to keep Adrian Newey was they gave him a blank check to make a hypercar.
Yeah.
And then he left. Oh, he was working on a hypercar for Aston Martin when they were teamed together, when Aston Martin were sponsoring Red Bull. And then Red Bull pulled the plug on that. And so Aston Martin's car was the Valkyrie, I think, or the Valhalla. And then Red Bull, like, we'll just make a car with us. And he did. But it's never going to see the light of day. They've released a model of it.
But for him, that was the reason he left. So that may have been a Christian thing.
No, it didn't. Okay. It didn't keep Adrian Newey.
No, I know, but it didn't make him leave. I mean,
no. So he tried everything to keep Adrian Newey.
Maybe Christian is the reason Adrian left. I don't know. But
so
why
Adrian,
why wouldn't we know that?
He's allergic to drama.
Yeah,
okay. Adrian famously is allergic to it. And so yes, all that happened last year was kind of revolting to him.
All right, so let me ask you guys the question then. So, do you think Max is going to Mercedes? How true could these rumors be?
No fucking idea. Like, the amount of contrasting information that we're receiving, all from these rubbish journalistic sites. There's nothing that I've heard that would suggest we just hear so many rumors. How are we supposed to know?
Yeah.
I can't imagine he would suddenly go to Mercedes. It's not a step up unless they've promised him, like you said, Ev, something special to go there.
Well, I was pretty adamant that he wasn't going to Mercedes because I was trying to think of it from my perspective of if I was on the other side. Like, I was thinking, well, they would have announced it by now. Like, they would have tried to capitalize on the reality of what's happened at Red Bull and not left that sitting and said, actually, Max is coming to us. However, then I was like, well, no, it would also make sense not to announce it then and let Christian Horner still be the story about Max going to Mercedes. And so it is quite possible that that announcement is still pending. There is certainly a lot of online stuff that suggests he has, in fact, signed a contract with Mercedes.
Okay.
But fuck, they say that about every driver.
Yeah, I know.
That's right.
Yeah. I want to hear what Tay was going to say.
So there's two things to consider, right? So apparently there's a lot of talk in regards to the car next year, and with obviously the new regulations, a whole new car, whatever, new power units, engine all of it. So there is rumors that apparently Mercedes have already produced a really strong candidate of an engine.
I heard that.
And so that is one thing where all of a sudden everyone's thinking that Mercedes are going to dominate that first season with that engine, with the new cars. The other side of it is that if he were to stay Red Bull, to give it at least that 1 year, because everything's the unknown with Red Bull even now. They've got a new power unit that they're doing with Ford, and it's unknown, so you don't really know what could come of this engine and their design. Same with the car stuff. So everyone's also saying, well, he should at least give it another year, and then at the end of 26, then see, and then start having those talks.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
again, like, I mean, it really could go either way. There's the other side of it where you could think about where maybe they were trying to create this news and this almost look at this hand while this hand's doing this thing. And
Exactly.
So
I don't think that there's any
Trumpism.
sort of, as Ollie's alluding to, there is whether or not there's smoke in sports agency doesn't necessarily mean there's fire.
Unless you're Will Buxton.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I got to talk about him.
But if, his the reputation of Camp Verstappen is very kind of cold-hearted, very strict. So it very much wouldn't surprise me if they did openly have conversations with Toto, or allow people to be aware that that's happening, but for nothing else other than to create smoke that puts pressure on
pressure on
and all of that,
Yes,
and
yes.
because they just want what they want. Max Ineos wants what's best for Max.
Okay,
not
so-
for the team, not for the brand.
Go
Okay,
DB.
okay, so this whole car is built around Max Verstappen. And the only proof that we have that it's very different to drive, I guess, is either Red Bull's lower tier coming up and struggling with it, or Daniel Ricciardo leaving and struggling with every other car, and being the only person who is even close to Max or could compete with Max. Where's the assumption that when Max goes to this other team that he can even drive the car as well?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Like, everyone's going,
Wait,
if
we
he was
don't
in the
know.
Mercedes, he'd be smashing. I was like,
Yeah.
really? Because it sounds like it's nothing like a fucking Mercedes, and perhaps
But
his
that's
driving
also-
style has nothing remotely to do with any other team. Like, the odds of him just waltzing in and dominating, like, he needs to be sure he doesn't want to be at Red Bull anymore and he can't do better. It's just an odd thing to think that he goes
Or a
Mercedes.
challenge.
It is,
Yeah,
but
maybe
now
a
would be the
challenge.
time to do it where you can blame it on the new regs, right? Like, so
Yeah.
it's like, let's spend the next 12 months where we know every other team's also going to be pretty shit getting this car right for you. For me too, Diggs, not me too, hashtag, but for me too, that also would make sense to why the theory about Max going to Mercedes is to partner Antonelli and not George, because Antonelli can play second fiddle to Max there.
And
they can
also can't drive the
prioritise
current
Max.
state of the Mercedes in its current form either.
Well,
Which would then-
Antonelli, yeah.
which would then
He's
give
struggling.
us our priority performance, which would be George Russell being the new Max Verstappen at Red Bull, or what I really like with this new system going on that Aston Martin buy out Christian Horner to make him team principal, kick Lance Stroll to the curb, and put George Russell as team leader, and you've just got and then you got Alonso as the senior. I reckon that would be the cool.
So
that
here's
would be,
a
I would
couple of
be
things.
all
Let me just
in on Aston Martin.
let me latch onto a few of those things there. So let's go to that idea of George Russell going to Red Bull. So direct swap, right? Direct driver swap, which is again not. Wouldn't be unheard of. It's certainly where a lot
No, of course not.
Well, we say that, and we spoke about this at great lengths a couple of weeks ago.
I'm not saying it wouldn't.
About
I just don't see
how
it.
George doesn't fit the Red Bull brand. But I want to take that a step further, guys. George doesn't fit the Red Bull Christian Horner brand.
Yep.
Right? It's the Horner thing that I've struggled with, not Red Bull. Right? So,
But then
I could see
George
that.
Russell doesn't scream extreme sports or anything like that.
Well, he's an F1 driver, and he's a
but
damn
he's-
fucking good one.
But he is, but he's so like, I don't know. I don't look
He's
at him
like the
and think
James
Red Bull.
Bond.
Yeah,
He's like James
that's why I think
Bond
he's
of
such an
F1.
Aston Martin guy, right? He's just
No,
cool,
James Bond
calm,
even-
can drive
yeah.
perfectly, and he's not a wild
But
child.
James Bond doesn't sit at the front of the class with his shirt tucked in. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's George Russell. So,
No, but he
Sir,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sir.
but he does. But he is, in Goldeneye for England, James, for England. It's always
Yeah.
for the
But
Queen.
then-
It's for the
but
Queen.
No,
James
that was
Bond-
Trevelyan. Trevelyan said
No,
that.
no,
Triple
Trevelyan
six.
says that to him
Yeah.
as an insult, you fucking idiot.
Yes.
He's mocking
All right.
him.
Oh wow! Look at this.
okay, all right. So just on that, so
I'm
Dig,
gonna
I
have to
love
watch that.
I love your fan theory, and there's a lot of fan theories going around. We just are the ones with the mics. I cannot see Christian Horner at Aston Martin with Lawrence Stroll there. Like, that's two Mavericks, mate. Two Mavericks.
No, so
but maybe.
everybody's talking about him going to Alpine.
Alpine. Or,
No
so-
way. Not
or-
for
Yeah,
mine.
no, it makes a lot of sense.
so let's
Tay,
get
you
on
wanna say
to,
something? Go,
let's,
Tay.
hold on,
Go-
let's
go
get
to
on
Tay.
to Christian. So what does next, sorry, before we get on to Christian, I just want to talk about the team. Well, actually, let's just talk on that driver. I saw another fan theory during the week, and it was a picture of two lads in Red Bull kit, and it was Charles Leclerc and George Russell. Could you guys see that for Red Bull?
No.
What about
No.
Leclerc and Sainz?
Nah.
No,
No?
Leclerc's like he'd been blessed by Ferrari.
Yeah, okay.
He's a
All right.
Ferrari junior.
Sainz is
is-
doing well enough to be put back into Red Bull.
Yeah.
But things change, right? Like, again, like this gives Red Bull a whole new direction. They're suddenly not got a car that's solely built for one driver. They're going, how do we make two competitive cars?
Yeah.
Like, it
But
changes
also-
everything.
If you're Red Bull, what do you do? Like, who are you? How would you
Also-
even know where to start?
Also,
it's a bit
this
late.
is a
Yeah,
Well, this is
yeah,
this
yeah.
is exactly right. Red Bull is not what they were last year. So this is like the time where they can like, all right, let's just start fresh and start.
Well, okay. Tay, I have a
Well,
question.
it's not even that. They've been in decline.
Exactly.
It's not like they are.
But it's
what
a
they are
quick
last-
decline,
They were
lads.
in decline.
Yeah, it
no, I
is.
think this has been coming since all the scandal that
No,
I'm
but
not
he
allowed to
still
talk
won the
about.
Drivers'
No.
Champ last year. So this isn't like suddenly like, you
Oh,
know,
no, I
Hold on.
Yeah.
Take before you go there, I want to just so you say it's a chance for a new start, and this is one maybe pointed at Ev or you, but guys, you got to remember that Red Bull is now fully committed to becoming an engine manufacturer in 2026 with Ford that Christian was driving. Like this is a really weird time for this shit.
Yeah,
Like
so-
how's the new dude supposed to just pick up all of this shit?
Maybe Christian secretly helped facilitate Max going to Mercedes, and they found out, so they fired him.
Yeah, I've heard like secondhand that the engine department, the powertrains.
Yeah.
First of all, Ford isn't doing anything. Ford just paid to have
Their badge
name
on
on it.
Yep. Okay.
They offered. I do know that they offered technical help, and that got turned down.
By Christian, probably.
Yeah, probably. Well, he's the only one who's accountable.
Yeah.
And so, from what I've heard from reputable sources, is that they're completely in the weeds with this. What
Yeah.
they did is they bought the intellectual property of the Honda engine, which is what they've been so successful with. Honda dropped out, so Honda sold them that IP. Honda now want to come back in because they've changed the regulations, but that's separate. They are both starting from the same kind of genus, but it's been a couple of years now, so they're starting to
forge their own path.
Develop in. Yeah, that's right. But to think that you have to build a factory, which they haven't finished yet, while also designing an old engine, retrofitting it for the new regulations, regardless of how successful that engine has been. Like, it's really bizarre how poorly this seems to have been managed. Yeah. I know it doesn't make for good clickbait because it's very boring talking about...
very technical.
Yeah, it's very technical.
I actually think the truth or the more logical scenarios are much more newsworthy. The clickbait doesn't interest me.
Yes. Yeah. And so supposedly Max has been very skittish because what faith do you have if you look around and your company hasn't even built the facility yet? Like, it takes a long time to build engines. Christian didn't want to go to Mercedes. Mercedes and Ferrari are both fully booked. There's a regulation that says whoever supplies the least number of engines is forced to take on a new client. So, for example, Alpine, Renault, for whatever reason, Renault famously successful at building Formula One engines, they're in complete disarray. So they're taking on Mercedes engines, and I think that they had to practically beg for that because Mercedes already have Williams and McLaren and their own.
Yeah,
they don't. It's so hard to build engines, and we've seen Williams. Their engines have been failing the last couple of races.
Yeah, big time.
Well, so there's
we're gonna have to start wrapping the subject up, guys.
Yeah, I know. That's a big mess, right? But I just want to quickly round out. So, to your point, Mekis, he's going to inherit an incomplete car. He's got an unproven engine project, which, to your point and what you're alluding to, Ev, is unfinished by the sounds of it. And then you've got the retention mission for Max Verstappen, if there is any saving. Because let's not forget, even if Max isn't leaving right now, his contract ends at the end of next year. So you still, if you've got him, and you've secured him right now, you've still got to secure him for longer than 2026.
If you shit the bed next year...
I thought it was 28.
Keeping him.
Oh, sorry.
Max is 28.
No, sorry, you're right,
28.
Tay. It is 28.
George is next year.
George and Antonelli are both.
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers have made it so that their contracts end when the new regulations come in.
Yeah. So, look, I mean, I don't know. Going back to our original question, why now? I can't figure out if Red Bull is course correcting or if they're panicking. I can't, and I don't think we're going to find out until after the fact.
Maybe a bit of both.
Bit of both, maybe.
What a season of Drive to Survive this is going to be.
Finally getting his chance to stab Christian in the back. I'm just
Well,
I can't stop thinking of Jon Snow as that one guy, Sir Alistair or whatever his name is.
I was thinking of the guy from Inception, they want him to break up his father's legacy. Yeah. And it's like somebody's incepted Matisic's son, and now I don't want my father's legacy.
And you can imagine the Drive to Survive episode on this. It's all the tweet noises. It'll just be an episode of that shit. And Will Buxton going.
They don't even.
Will Buxton talking.
Will Buxton
and
Christian Horner would be leaving the factory that day for the very last time.
No, you know what? It will be Will Buxton getting up before they do all the tweeting sound effects to say these, going, if Christian doesn't pull out a race win here, he could be in some serious trouble. And then watching Max falter at Silverstone, and then Sonny's...
Anyways, the last thing Christian needs is a scandal.
I want to talk about Horner. Whilst we're on the topic of futures, and let's wrap up here by starting the conversation with Christian and ending it. Aside from the fact that he's apparently fighting to have his full contract paid out, I think it's something to the tune of $50 million is what I've heard. But a few months ago, the rumour mill suggested he could go to Ferrari. And now this week alone, other options floating about him is going to Alpine, Aston Martin, or even the new Cadillac. Like everybody's apparently talking about maybe bringing on the Maverick. Working on the assumption that if he seeks to get his full contract paid out, he's going to have to take gardening leave. So he won't be able to go and work for another team until the end of whatever if he wants his full payout.
2030.
I think it's like 5 years.
Yeah,
so it's 10 million a year.
Yeah, so choose your battle, pick your battle. That would be my advice there. I'm sure he's got plenty of it. But putting that aside for now, gents, Ferrari unlikely, but Elkin may return if Vassar stumbles. My understanding is they've offered Fred a 1-year contract extension, and he's not very happy about it. Alpine, obviously logical fit by way of if Briatore got out of the way, but good luck if that were next year and suddenly Christian's having to work with Toto on that engine. Can imagine that's going to go real well. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised.
Change
go.
your fucking engine.
I'm sure that he'll be.
I think if they're on the same team, it
professional.
Actually go quite well. Yeah.
Part of the reason why Alpine is such a obvious fit is that Christian has always had this chip on his shoulder about Toto. Toto owns a third of Mercedes.
Yes.
So he owns a third, Petronas own a third, and Mercedes own a third.
Yeah.
But it's like Toto's in charge. Nobody can fire Toto unless he sells part of his stake and then he loses control. What Christian wants is that ownership. All of the stuff he did with Red Bull counts for naught.
I know, isn't that wild? He's like the only CEO.
Doesn't matter how much money you earn.
Poor
That's
negotiator.
right. Whereas
Alpine,
Alpine,
he was very young when he started.
Well, yeah.
But you think he would have negotiated
Renault
it
and
over
Alpine,
time, right?
Maybe
he would have been like,
maybe
give me 10% stake.
Maybe.
No.
I mean, who knows? Maybe that's part of the whole issue. I mean, look, he's not going to be able to work, but if someone wants it bad enough, they'll pay his contract out, they'll buy him out of it, and they'll put him in the team.
So Alpine, Renault
send
very
him to
much
Williams.
want his style of management.
No.
Renault do not want to oversee this. They want nothing. They kind of want nothing to do with Formula One now because they've given up on the engines. They don't make sports cars. All the Alpines are electric from now on. They're only kind of like keeping the chair warm for some reason.
Christian Horner Racing.
Yeah, and so to get
Max Verstappen
to get in
racing.
a guy who's very much like Flavio Briatore, who works well with Flavio. So if Flavio gets a promotion to be a mediator between Renault and Christian, all sides would be happy with that.
All right. Okay. Well, in a bid to keep our What's Verstappen traditioning, we're going to wrap up what else is in the headlines and switch back to our usual format where we're going to throw out a few topics at you where these lads will have 20 seconds. However, before doing that, we're going to take a quick pause in proceedings for, yes, you guessed it, Has You Been Paying Attention? The only F1 quiz that rewards speed, strategy, and the ability to remember the completely irrelevant. Each week, I put our 3 co-hosts to the test with a mix of motorsport mayhem, the serious, the silly, and the just plain obscure. Points are awarded, pride is on the line, and frankly, most of the time, it is pure fucking chaos. Think of it like F1 meets Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. If all the lifelines were cheat notes written on your thigh or relying on a fast finger typing into Google whilst you pretended you were thinking, or if the host was incapable of having a poker face, inevitably revealing all with facial gestures. Why does it matter? Because in a world of 300-page technical regulations and 14th-place battles that last 30 laps, sometimes the real test is, were you even paying attention? So whether you're here for the headlines or the drama, or just to hear Tay's awful attempt at coming up with a humorous buzzer, strap in. The quiz is about to begin, and Digby's lead is very much under threat. With all that, boys, as always, I need your buzzers. Give me something good. Tay, you're up. Buzzer, go.
Here he goes.
Change your fucking principle.
Damn it.
Oh, yeah, good. I knew it was coming when you said it earlier.
No,
yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Diggs, what do you got for me?
I'm just going to take the first half of that. If you've got a problem, that's it.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, we're right here. This is the Christian Order episode. Ev, don't let us down. Come back with no, and don't make it. I know. You probably, whatever you were about to say, change
baby,
it.
relax, baby.
Quick, let's go.
Mine is, I don't have a funny voice for it, but mine is, would you like to connect? Another email from LinkedIn. Another email
like
from
that.
LinkedIn.
I like that.
For
Christian
someone
Horner
who's
wants to
recently
open to work.
unemployed.
Open to
I'm
work.
open to network.
Would you like
Nice.
Would you like to connect?
Well done, lads. That's got to be up there with the best buzzers this week. All right, here we go. We're going to rip through these. Question 1. As alluded to in the earlier discussion, Christian Horner is on record the second most successful team principal in history. From poles, race wins, podiums, or driver and constructor championships, give me 2 results from that pool that Christian has achieved. How many poles, race wins, podiums, or championships has he got in his last 20 years?
Change your fucking engine.
No, I think it was Digby.
I heard Digby,
I did.
That in my ears it worked perfectly.
Yeah. That was really good. That was really good.
He's got
So-
8 championships,
8 what championships?
drivers' championships,
Correct?
and 7 constructors' championships.
Wrong. No
Yeah.
points for you. No. Right. Come on.
Change your fucking engine.
Oh, Ev, I thought you'd be quicker. Tay, what have you got?
So, the 8 drivers.
You got to steal that? Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah.
yeah, very good,
And,
very
well,
good,
of course
very
I am. And I think it's 6 constructors.
It is correct. Can you give
Yeah.
me how many race wins, podiums, or poles he delivered?
Nah,
No?
that's too
Oh,
high.
I'll still give you the point. All right. Ev, do you know?
Charity. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. So let me rattle off. So from 400 odd races, he's achieved 107 poles, 124 race wins, 287 podiums. So there
And
you
as
go.
a Red Bull
Pretty
fan,
damn
I've also achieved that amount.
What's weird though is like after
Quick.
20 years, only
Yeah.
400 races.
Yeah.
It just seems.
Yeah, but you got to remember that up
It's
until
only
twice.
recently,
No,
it was like
I know.
18 races
Yeah.
a year.
I know,
Yeah.
but even so, yeah.
All right, Chris.
Well, I mean, 400
Tay.
divided
Thanks for
by
that, Tay.
20. Tay, you do the math.
Yeah.
Right,
you do that.
question 2.
Answers in the title.
Officially at the halfway mark of the 25 season, with 12 races down and 12 to go, what is the top 5 in order of the Drivers' Championship?
if you've got a problem,
Go.
Change your fucking
because
principle.
I had to look this up. I had to look this up.
Top 5.
We got McLaren.
No, drivers.
Drivers.
Driver.
He's
now.
gone.
Sorry,
You're
sorry,
out of here,
sorry.
buddy.
I'll give him one more.
Get out of
I'll give him
here.
one more.
Oscar,
Go.
Lando, Max, George, Charles.
Well done. Well done.
Fuck.
Very good. Yep. Yeah, I thought you might have tripped up on one of them.
I thought
Okay,
Kimmy
1
was
all.
up there.
1 all between Tay and Diggs. Question number 3. How many points to the nearest 10, right? So, I won't accept the exact... separate Oscar from last place in
If
the
you've got a
Drivers'
problem-
Championship. Oh, you've gone early, Diggs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he didn't,
last
he didn't mean
place.
to do that.
I
Yeah,
think
how many-
it is. Oh my god.
Nearest 10, I'll take.
260.
Wrong. Tay or Ev, quick. 5 seconds.
200. What's my thing? Would you like to connect? I'm going to say 259, and I'm going to fuck Digby.
To the
Well,
tens,
you're wrong
mate.
anyway,
Yeah,
because
to the tens. I
he
think I'm
was
way
Yeah,
on
too
the
it's
early.
nearest 10. He was
think I'm
actually on the
right.
nearest 10, so all you would do... Anyways, you're wrong.
Change
Tay?
your fucking
Yeah, what do you got?
principle. I'm gonna say 200.
Wrong. You're all wrong.
That's 3. Isn't it 3 still?
Oscar's on 234 points.
So 30.
Yeah. And last place is on 0 points. So I would have
Oh,
said
it's
I would have
230.
taken
230.
230.
I was gonna say 220. God damn.
The only 2 on 0 points, mind you, are both Jack Doohan and Colapinto. So there you go. So poor old Jack has
Doohan's
been
got
really
an average
stitched
of
up there.
1 place higher, though.
Yeah, that's right. Right, question number 4. Who is coming last in the Constructors' Championship?
If you got a problem,
What do you got?
Change your fucking principle.
Alpine.
Yes, well done, Diggs.
Ah.
Well done.
I thought you
Well
were
That
gonna
was
done.
say
harder
you
than I
clown.
thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said.
So
shit.
Alpine, they've currently got 19 points compared to McLaren's 60, and McLaren's 460, and they sit 10 behind Haas, who are in second last spot. Question number 5, Digby 2-1 lead. Out of the top 4 constructors, which team has accrued the most amount of points in the last 3 races?
If you got a problem,
What do you got?
Fuck.
Go. Which team has the most amount of points outside of top 3 in the last 3 races?
Ferrari.
Top 4, sorry.
outside
no, sorry, they're in
of the top 4.
Outside of top 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
Haas.
Wrong. They've
Change
actually-
your fucking principle.
they're the-
Oh, damn.
What do you got, Tay?
Steak.
Of course.
What's the name of that team though?
Kick Sauber.
Oh,
Yeah, well done. They've got 25 points.
Yeah,
Haas has got 3, Digby.
Yeah.
They're actually last of everyone. Williams has got 5.
They've been qualifying
Alpine's
well.
got 8. Racing Bulls has got 8, and Aston Martin's got 20. So Kick
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Aston Martin,
Yeah.
the holding up the rest of the game.
Hold
Right,
the
Tay, you got that right, didn't you? No?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Yep, cool. So 2-all.
2-all.
Question number 6. Name the next 3 races on the calendar.
Change
in a
your
row.
fucking
Gotta-
principle.
In order. Yeah, Tay, go. What do you got?
Oh my god.
Ev's very quiet. Ev hasn't...
I think everyone
Quick.
got this
fucking
today,
saw
doesn't
it as well.
Quick.
Belgium.
Yes. Spa. Yep.
Fuck. Is it Netherlands?
No.
Wrong.
me.
What's your
Would
buzzer?
you like to connect?
Yeah, what do you got? Would you like to connect?
Me.
Bar.
Yes,
It's my favourite
Spa.
buzzer.
Is it Italy?
No. No, it's not.
Because I know the
guessing.
Netherlands are
Spa.
third.
Yeah. Spa.
Hungary.
Yeah. Yeah, Hungary.
Ah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And?
No, you said Spa first.
Yes,
Yeah, he
I
said
said
Spa.
Spa first.
Yeah,
Spa,
he said
Hungary,
Spa.
and the
Did he?
Netherlands.
Well done, Diggs. Well done.
I fucking forgot about Hungary.
Yeah,
we
Hungary.
collectively did that.
Yeah.
We all deserve
no.
a third of a point.
No,
Yeah, we should.
no,
We
because
should.
you literally only got one of the 3. I got
Yeah.
2 of the 3.
Oh, okay, Digby. Well done.
The
thank
the
you,
worst
that's
thing
why I
for
have
us
more
down under
points.
is
Go race for Red Bull
that they're all European races.
with
All-
George.
It's the
all
last
European
of them, isn't it?
races. Well, they go to Italy after
Oh, yeah.
Hungary.
Yeah.
After
I love
Netherlands,
that. I
sorry.
love that Hungary
That's the
track.
last one.
All right,
So-
question
Yeah.
number 7. Remember, boys, you lose points here. You will lose points for getting this wrong. You will get 2 points for getting it right.
So is it 3-2-0? Is that what it is?
yeah, and you're on 0. just
For how long?
right. Question number
Keep
7.
forgetting my buzzer.
Would you
Who
like
is
to connect?
currently leading the fastest lap award for 2025? Who's got the most fastest laps across the first 12 races? Oh, remember you lose points.
I actually don't know. One person.
would
who's
you like
got
to
the
connect?
fastest lap.
What have you got?
Oscar?
No. Ev goes to
Yeah.
-2. This is a bad day out for you, big guy. Anyone else going to take a stab, or are you done with this question?
I honestly, I couldn't tell you who's actually ever got one in the
All
race
right.
because obviously you see it changing. I never.
yeah,
actually
you don't see it as much
remember.
anymore. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't
Tay?
even mean anything. I'm not even going to have a go. I need to
Okay.
try and at least stay within
Alright.
one.
So Lando has got the most fastest laps
Yeah.
with 5. Oscar's got 4. Russell and Antonelli have got 1, and Max has got 1. Last question. Tay, you get this right, you will win. Ev, you are out. Diggs, you can play it safe
Yep.
and not answer, and win if Tay gets it
It's
wrong
not,
or
it's
doesn't
not my
answer.
style, though, is it?
There you go.
Do something.
Question number 8.
Better
You
not
didn't
be
come
about
this
food.
far to only come this far,
Which,
Digby.
which constructor has the fastest pit stop all year?
Change your fucking
Oh.
principle.
God damn it.
Tay, what do you got?
Ferrari.
Well, oh my God, he's done it, ladies and gentlemen. He has done it. Well
Wow.
done.
Fucking.
Well done.
Wow.
And quite substantially. So in the
Yeah.
first 12 races, Ferrari have 8 of the fastest pit stops.
But their fastest was like
but
the first
2
or
seconds.
second race.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. They actually got flat 2 seconds in both Saudi Arabia and Monaco.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
That's
Ferrari.
a,
So
it's
yes,
a key indicator of a really well-run team.
yeah,
Is it?
Pit stop,
Surprisingly.
consistent pit stops.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It
Yeah.
seems
crazy
dumb
that it's Ferrari.
or redundant.
Yeah.
but it's
Right.
So for all this shit about them, yeah.
I know. Right, wrapping up today's shorter episode is part 2 of What's Verstappening. As a reminder, this is
Around
our
the
weekly
horn.
roundup of everything happening off track. This is where we dive into the stories that don't always make the podium but absolutely deserve the spotlight, the politics, the rumours, driver drama, team meltdowns, future moves, and yes, even the unexpected thirst traps from a Williams garage. Because let's be honest, racing is only half the story. F1 is a soap opera with carbon fibre, and if you're not across the latest chaos with Horner, Bottas's Instagram comeback hints, or whatever it is that Alpine's trying to do, Alpine, damn it! Do you genuinely have any idea of what's Verstappening? As the usual weekly rodeo goes, I'm going to rattle off a few headlines and context, and then each of my esteemed idiots is going to get 20 seconds to cast their wild thoughts, opinions, or dispersions against it. Tay will go first because he won the quiz. Topic number 1, which Digby will go first in. Perez gets into bed with Cadillac. According to some outlets, and we quipped earlier in the episode that everyone will say that contracts are signed when maybe they're not, but Sergio Perez's return to F1 is all but publicly locked in with the suggestion that he has signed the agreement with the American team. The announcement is set to be made post the Hungarian Grand Prix, so in early August. Gents, we've seen and heard a lot of confirmed reports about many drivers, including that Max, as we said, is going to Mercedes. But do you think getting experienced drivers like Sergio and Bottas is the right way to go for Cadillac rather than trying to breed new, particularly young US drivers?
I think it's a good move to begin with, to at least have one of them. Perez seems to be the name that continuously pops up, so I can only assume that that's a pretty real confirmation that he's going to be in the team. I would probably have my inexperienced driver as the reserve driver just for that first year, and then swap round with the lesser performing of the two for their second year onwards. Does
it make you think that you're right, Perez has to be the one that's locked in? Because even last week, Bottas was commenting about potentially still talking with Alpine. So, yeah. Good shout.
Yes, I think considering considering they've got so much to deal with the brand new car and then the new regulations, having two experienced drivers to essentially bring them into the fold of F1 is the way to go. Then they can look at how and when they should look at bringing in rookies and bringing in that. But in the sense of just trying to get the team on the grid and see what that first season's like, I think they're doing the right thing.
Okay. Ev?
What was the question? About Sergio Perez going, what?
And Bottas.
What was the context of the question? Yeah, right. So Sergio, hugely popular still in Mexico. Mexico and Spanish Southern American culture in Northern America. So big.
Yep.
And getting bigger.
Yeah, good point.
We only had the last election was like the first time that millennial generation got to vote. They're coming up. It's really kind of. I'm not stoked about Sergio. He very much failed after his contract.
No, only the last year.
The last year, but it was so bad.
But everyone's been bad in that car.
Yeah, I know.
You gotta remember, he came second. He came third in the Drivers' Championship in his first year at Red Bull, then second in his second year.
Well, look, Mercedes had Michael in their first couple of years.
Yeah, true.
And it did nothing for them.
Yep. I'm not sure if you're backing up my argument or yours. Tay, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I know. So, I think it's a really good idea, but it's not really. It makes so much sense, but it also isn't very exciting.
Yes, okay.
I think,
my point.
That's a fair wrap up.
If you want to touch on the money aspect, he is bringing, I think, the richest man from Mexico. He's bringing him along as a sponsor.
Consultant.
So,
yeah, okay. That'll go well. We know how all these egos do. All right.
Yeah.
Topic number 2. More than just Guan Yu and a track. FIA President MBS has expressed openness to adding a Chinese team to the F1 grid as the 12th team. Like the NBA and many sports before it and since it, China continues to be a core financial market for many sporting organizations. But gents, putting aside who the team is for now, thoughts on continuing to increase the number of teams, noting that next year will be 11? And if you could request a sovereign-based team from any part of the world outside of Europe, who would you go with and why?
I'm so sick of hearing about more teams being added. We don't need more teams. It's clear we don't. And he even stated that the drivers don't want more teams. He's just seeing dollar signs and I'm fucking over it. However, if I was to pick a team, I would probably pick New Zealand. Just why not?
Led by Liam Lawson.
They could have a pretty awesome car to look at.
Isn't that McLaren?
McLaren's New Zealand.
Yeah.
Well, it is and it isn't.
You should have the logo.
Yeah. That's right. It was great chat.
I get that.
Great chat.
But
yeah.
Do
you know what? Personally, given the tech and the innovation coming out of China, and particularly that in the auto space, I'm all for this. I'd love a Chinese team.
I think that would be really I just don't want another team. I want less teams, not more teams.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Anyway,
I want more.
I want to see what it's like with Cadillac first. I can't really speak on what that season would look like with 12 teams on there.
Yeah.
I also
It's been so long.
Yeah, I also don't know why the fuck he thinks he's got any say in it when F1 still needs to approve it. So
Fair enough.
that's half of it as well. It's like, why are you opening your mouth about any of this shit? You don't get to.
He loves the attention. Yeah.
So he's just winding me up now.
Okay. Ev, what do you got?
Look, BYD, the biggest car company in the world, and it's only taken them like 3 years or something.
Yeah. And look at what they're doing in the AI space. Yep.
Yeah, by all accounts, the quality has really increased in the last few years, which is scary.
Yeah. Not for the consumer. Cheap quality goods. How good?
Yeah.
Yep. Cheap quality F1 cars.
Relative to was it Foxconn, and they have to put suicide nets up to stop people from their employees from
allegedly.
So,
okay.
So I think that's a very kind of salient point to make. Yeah, China would make it, whether or not they care. I don't. I always felt that the Chinese market is kind of very much shrunk since that whole.
I don't know where you're going to go with this.
Real estate. No, the real estate industry is at the bottom fell out of it because they built so many skyscrapers so quickly. And now that there's literally no takers for it.
Yeah.
And so it's like they've got trillions of dollars worth of debt, which
it's all right.
they don't have to share with anybody.
Yeah.
So it's all a bit.
So if you could choose a team from a country, where are you going? So Diggs was keen on
New Zealand.
Yeah,
New Zealand. I don't know. I'd love to see a Japanese. I want to see Honda or
Toyota.
Yeah, Toyota's not that cool. Yeah, to be Honda,
Number one
maybe
car
Lexus
brand in the world. Toyota.
Something like that. Where I'd want to see I want to see their engineers wearing kimonos.
I appreciate
tire changes.
I appreciate that.
I want a cartoony kind of. I want every team to be a cartoon version.
I love how you get
culture.
genuinely shitty at MBS for making elements of F1 a novelty, but every time you're thrown the option to come up with something that could help make the sport better, you come up with the most dumbest shit.
I don't know if our audience is old enough to remember Theme Hospital and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, love them. They still create them.
There's a fry stand, and the building is in the shape of a big bowl of fries. That's what I want. That's all I want.
All right, quick one, last one.
I didn't get to ask. I didn't get to answer that.
Who's your country, Tay?
Who's
your country?
Yeah, I was going to say. I was just saying last one, Tay, to wrap up. Ev to wrap up. But anyways, go, Tay.
Yeah.
Tay.
I would say probably Sweden for either. I think he's
Koenigsegg,
or if you want to go
Volvo.
the other way, where as a Volvo, exactly.
Yeah, everyday car,
IKEA.
Sports car. Yeah,
Volvo
IKEA.
and IKEA sponsorship.
Yeah,
it would work. It'd be Polestar.
Build your own
you could
car.
You could have that blue
Flat
and yellow.
pack.
That IKEA blue and yellow. Okay,
That'd be
You know
awesome.
when they change the front wing, instead of it being a
It's an
tool,
Allen
it's
key.
just an Allen key.
Yeah. Very good. Can you imagine? Actually, most of those demountables are probably made from IKEA, the way they pull them down. And next topic. V8 bomb drop or just more rambling from MBS? FIA President Mohammed bin Sulayem dropped a bomb
Keep going.
Wow.
Keep going. You can
dropped
redo
a bomb
it later.
recently
Use
stating that he's
MBS.
targeting a return to naturally aspirated V8 engines by 2029. By all accounts, the current V6 hybrids are incredibly pricey and complex. They cost around something like US $2 million per engine and $200 million on R&D, to which he's now saying ditch the maze of hybrids and go back to simpler, lighter engines. And yes, that signature roar fans miss so much. Lads, noting it's not just nostalgia, these V8s by his account would also mean cutting half the costs, saving upwards of 100 kilos of car weight, freeing up space. The only question I have is, why on earth wouldn't they do this?
Well, I don't. Well, that was not the question I was expecting. He's obviously doing it because he wants to make more money because it costs less.
But he doesn't make the money.
the
FIA
company
doesn't make the money.
You know what I mean? The sport makes
Yeah,
the
yeah,
money.
yeah.
I don't
Sure,
know.
sure.
But
He's a hero.
I mean, if it makes the cars smaller and lighter, sure, I'm all for it. But I don't know if I could handle that noise for a whole race every week, which we alluded to last week.
So I'm looking at it from a fan of that era of engine. Yes, 100% would love it.
Just remind me, what era was this? Because these aren't the V12s, which were the screaming pitches down the
and then
straight.
there was the
they've
V10s.
all been screaming.
And then there were the V10s.
Yeah.
And then they did the V8s. Didn't they do that with the Shumi's 2004?
I don't know when the V8s came in. V12s were off the table because the power to weight, the extra weight you get from a V12 doesn't warrant the small. It's such an incremental addition of horsepower.
Yeah.
So it's not the V10 is the most efficient.
Yeah.
So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you
But
off.
will the V8
no,
sound
right.
like that screamer when it's going down the straight?
Yes, they all sound like that.
It's the
do?
Renault, wasn't it? It was the Renault, famously.
Yes.
Alonso's
I just think
Renault.
of those V8 supercars where they just go past and go boom, rather than the high pitch.
Yeah.
The high pitched, high revs.
No, the V8s for a Formula One car are still rev so much higher.
Yeah, awesome.
Than a
fucking bring it back,
supercar.
baby. Bring it back.
Yeah. But he's not doing that for that. I don't think he's doing it for the cost-saving bullshit. He's doing it because of his presidency, and he thinks that's what fans want to hear.
Correct.
So, Ev,
that
isn't? But this is genuinely something that the FIA have a claim to stand.
Right. So
like,
there is
their
an
space or
answer
not?
to this.
Yeah.
No, there is an answer.
Yeah.
So the new regulations come in next year.
Yes.
And then in 2 years' time, they were floating the idea of, all right.
2029, they're talking about introducing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the Austrian race, all of the manufacturers got together. They had a big meeting to discuss about bringing forward their engines.
Yes.
Because if everybody's excited about this, let's bring it forward. And what about doing a V8, naturally aspirated V8, instead of a V6 turbo with less gubbins, which is what we're getting, right? Because we don't have the heat transfer, which is the expensive part of the engine. So, and the battery's really heavy, stuff like that. All the manufacturers, Mercedes, I think it was Renault at the time, Ferrari, and Ford and Honda were there because Audi were there, VW were there, because everybody's quite curious if it's going to be cheap enough that warrants a peak of my interest. They agreed unanimous. It wasn't unanimous actually. They all agreed. The majority agreed.
No,
it was something like 6 out of 8. No, we don't want to make a naturally aspirated Formula One V8 engine, because we are incapable of selling that.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount of money going in, nobody wants a V8 car, for example, because fuel prices are so high and are only ever getting higher.
I do.
So, I know, I do too. But recently, Mercedes' last generation of AMG cars, they went to 4 cylinders. I was like this. And all of their customers complain. It's like, just give me the V8. That's all I want. But that's such a niche. It's such a niche.
All right,
so
your 20
it's
seconds
never
is up.
going to happen. So why is MBS pulling this out of his ass?
Yeah.
Oh, why don't we do... Like, no, buddy, they agreed.
Yeah.
And for, like, economic reasons, it makes sense.
All right.
Like, I know it... Yeah.
All right,
This
Pickle.
guy.
I know he really winds you both up, and it sounds like he's going to go in uncontested for the next presidency.
What about Tim Meyer?
There's that one guy.
Meyer.
That one guy.
Oh, is he
Yeah.
still... Okay. All right, other key
he's-
headlines just to note. I'm going to wrap them up. Schumacher and Fittipaldi are still in the race for Cadillac, apparently. That's the other news going around. The other headlines. Sauber has opened up a new technology center ahead of their rebrand and Audi F1 takeover, which is obviously a major off-track investment signaling future ambitions. Strong rumours indicate that Lawson is likely to be retained by Racing Bulls for 2026, cementing his place in the F1 paddock, which I would have thought, after what happened in the first 2 races this year, is a big relief for him. James Vowles has announced the birth of his second child, which is great.
Nerd.
Seb Vettel has confirmed that he is in talks with Red Bull for a potential role at the team, which makes even more sense now. And lastly, but not least, fresh off the heels of the F1 movie, which upon reflection of this latest headline makes so much sense, but Apple is bidding on the US rights to the F1, apparently for something like $150 million a year. Which, Tay, I believe you have a soundbite that you wanted to throw in about that.
Yeah, because the other who's currently got the contract is ESPN, and their bid is $85 million. So this is a substantial jump. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and this is apparently just for US broadcasting.
Yes,
so my understanding is that it's not
just regional.
It's not. So that is a lot of money just for the US market.
Big market,
so,
though.
But
that's Disney. Disney own ESPN,
Disney,
don't they?
They own ESPN,
Disney own
not
ESPN,
Apple.
not Apple.
Yeah.
No, I know that,
Yeah.
but like Disney's the largest
But they're not going to pay.
entertainment media
company
company
for it. They know.
Well, no, of course
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I know.
But also,
All right.
Apple also owns the rights to the MLS out here, and that's
Yes, they do.
big money as well. So they're probably just trying to dominate that market.
Yeah.
Well, it makes a lot of sense to why the movie was made by Apple. If I'm being really frank, it starts to make a lot
it
more
all
sense
swings
now in terms
around.
of their push. But yes,
was a
Apple very
promo
much
video.
looking.
Movie
Apple
was
very
a
much
promo.
looking to get into the.
Nothing about it offended anybody.
No.
You know.
Well, look.
It looks good on the balance sheet.
We'll talk about it next week when Ev, do you want to know our opinion of the movie? We know you're not going to
do.
go see it.
I'm going to wait for
It comes to Apple.
streaming so that I can skip ahead of all the bullshit drama kind of.
Well, that's kind of the point of it.
Shittiness
You
of
know,
it.
that's why don't you just watch the F1 if
No,
you
I
want?
know.
Oh, actually, there's enough drama in that. Yeah.
Digby loves that. Was it Thunder? Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder.
That makes sense in
almost
context because
almost
it's such
identical.
a simple car in NASCAR, relatively speaking, of course. And so it is about teams, putting the engine together and doing this and that. Whereas Formula One,
There's a lot of stuff that,
Oh.
and I was really excited about the film before I saw it, but I obviously kept hearing about like Carlos and what Carlos had said. Like if you're an F1 fan, there might be some things, and when you watch the movie,
dramatization of it,
you're
is-
like, oh
is
my
what
god,
seems-
like first of
I've
all,
heard that about IGN did a great set of interviews with people who are experts on so for example, they did one for a guy who was a Top Gun pilot. They were okay, run through, here are a couple of key scenes, and he was like, no, it's so
impossible. Yeah.
There's shit like, no, but it's the basic stuff like there's no chat. They're not like ribbing each other and go, oh, that chick you bang, like, oh, and then like the other guy's like, oh, don't take that from him. And they're like,
let me spoiler alert here. So if you haven't seen the movie, turn off now. But do you want us not to spoil it for you, or are you hanging?
I don't. What do I care? I don't care.
So I think there are a couple of things.
Spoil.
And
does the
jump
good
in,
guy
jump in.
win?
But there's a couple of things. One, like obviously, he's 60 years old, so that's wild. Like that he just suddenly
in the movie is he 60?
They never actually refer to his age, but he definitely doesn't look
30
young.
years older than when he first went into F1.
Well, that's ridiculous.
So he's at least late 50s.
50s.
Yeah, so he's old. He's older than Horner. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He looks
Your
it.
brain
So
doesn't
there's that.
operate fast enough.
There's that. There's the
Alright, go
whole.
on. Anyway,
like,
yes, go on.
He gets recruited
Yeah.
when he's sitting doing his laundry in a fucking
Laundromat.
laundromat, right? Then so there's that. There's in his first race, is it Tay, where he really wants to help the team get some points. So he just crashes into everyone so his teammate can get some points, which obviously you get disqualified in a fucking heartbeat, right?
Yes.
Like,
Yep.
there's the fact that then the team principal, is she the team principal? She sleeps with him. You're
Oh,
like,
no,
okay.
she's
No?
technical director.
Oh, she's technical director.
This is
Right,
what I wanted
yeah.
to get into, right?
Yeah.
Because she's
And then
doing
the
three
owner
roles.
turns up and knocks on the door, and like he's like, "Oh, can I speak to Sonny?" It's like 2 a.m. in the morning, and she's like, "He's not here. How dare you?" And she's like, "Okay, he's out the back." It's like, yeah, that would
typical
never
Irish.
happen. Yeah.
So that'd be like if Adrian Newey slept with Lance Stroll.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
well,
on that chick,
That's a
right?
similar power.
Yes,
like,
yes.
relatively speaking.
On that chick, she's literally playing three roles. She's playing the car designer. She's playing
Yes.
the strategist.
Yeah, she does
and
all of it,
she's-
doesn't she?
Yeah, and she's like
What?
playing like his counselor.
Yeah. There's also another
But she's
part.
on a wheel gun for something
There's
in the
another
trailer.
part-
She's on a wheel gun.
No, that's
No,
just
no,
like
no,
chick.
no. That's a different.
chick.
That's different.
Yeah, different.
Anyways, don't. Then there's another part where he like gets kicked off the team because he's like super
lied.
injured, and they found out that the reason why he got out of F1 in the first place because he had like these near-death injuries and he was never supposed to race again. And then his friend finds out who brought him back. And then he kind of like says, you're off the team. And then he turns up at the race after practice and qualifying and just jumps in the car and drives. You're like, no, you can't actually do that. You have to. The FIA states you have to partake in either practice or quali to be allowed to drive in the race. Look at Ev's face.
Well, yeah. But also, like, how did he get security clearance to get into the paddock?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Listen.
And, like, what was the seat? Because the seat has to be made.
And that's going to do it for this week's Idiots of F1. Thanks for sticking with us right through the silly season. Swirl the chaos of the quiz and whatever Christian Horner's LinkedIn status is right now. A big shout out to our reigning quiz champ, now equals Digby and Tay, and to Ev for showing up, which in this game is really half the battle.
You're welcome.
As always, if you liked what you heard, give us a follow, a share, or just scream our names into the wind the next time someone says DRS is boring. We'll be back next week. Well, actually, these guys will be, because I am going to be off, unfortunately. They'll be here for a full a full grid walk and trash talk of the Belgium Grand Prix as we preview what's coming up with the usual grid walk nonsense, mid-pack conspiracy theories, and possibly some few new contractual dramas either in the paddock or amongst this podcast's hosts. Until then, stay hydrated, stay out of Red Bull's bad books, and please remember to check if your fastest lap actually counts. Cheers, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.